Hi, my name is James Shank. I work for Team Cymru, but today I'm here to present on a project that I'm working on with several other people within this community and the wider internet community. We call this project DNS Transparency, and the core goal of this project is to create an audit trail for critical DNS record changes. In particular, any record changes that change the records within TLD zones. So for the problem statement, I'll tell a brief story here. Several of you might have heard of the sea turtle DNS record abuse attacks that the Cisco Talos group published on. There were other researchers involved in that activity, and CrowdStrike and FireEye also put out reports on this activity earlier than the Cisco Talos report, but perhaps not as detailed on some of the aspects of it. The thing that stuck out to me and to several others that I'm working with on that particular threat vector is that there were attackers that were able to compromise entire ccTLDs and undermine the answers that ccTLD zones were responding with for victimizing their targets. And the operators behind the ccTLD zones are responsible operators. They have monitoring systems in place. Sometimes they have multiple monitoring systems in place. And one of the organizations in particular had 3 monitoring systems in place, none of which caught the changes that were pushed into the ccTLD zones that allowed these attackers to successfully compromise their targets. And I guess to understand this problem, it's helpful to understand the relationships that are involved in the propagation of changes to TLD zones. A domain owner or a registrant has a relationship with either a registrar reseller or a registrar, but that's where your authority, that's where your ownership stops. The rest of the changes propagate through relationships between the registrars to the registries, from the registries to the TLD name server operators. And these relationships are not secured in any manner similar to like row-based access control. So the authentication methods and generally the protocols that are spoken at these layers secure the relationship between the registrar and the registry and the TLD name server operators, but they don't secure your name. Also, unless you are very well connected, you don't have any visibility into anything that propagates that might affect your name resources at the layers beyond your particular relationship with the registrars. And behind the scenes in the sea turtle attackers were able to gain access to registrar accounts of some of the victims that helped to facilitate their or their attacks rather. What's available to you today is a polling-based monitoring position, I suppose, or architecture. You could monitor via your registrar account what the records are there, or your reseller account, you could monitor there. And you can, of course, poll TLD name servers to find out what answers that they're generating. The issue, though, with polling is that you have times, right? There's an interval, and anything that takes place within that interval can be missed, and that's exactly what happened in the cases of some of the DNS compromises that took place earlier this year and related to the sea turtle actors. So that got us thinking, what can we do to help make this problem better? And what can we do quickly and efficiently to do so? We came up with the idea of the core contribution would be to make these changes audible. And to make them audible means to make them exposed and make them visible, but not via polling. Polling won't work. So we're reaching out to the critical people within the DNS operations community to receive these changes as they receive them. So any changes that they accept, we want to take, put on a message bus, and then propagate out to the subscribers or the interested parties for those naming resources. And what that does is it roughly looks like this. We will work with the registries as our first candidates for data contribution will receive the updates that the registries receive and then propagate those to endpoint registrants and domain owners and or security providers that would then filter that and provide additional context to the registrant. In phase 2, we hope to also talk to registrars and to TLD name server operators to get the changes that they accept from those polling points. So there's multiple points of monitoring that all make it into the collective view of these are the changes that are being replicated affecting TLD zones across the DNS architecture. So the people that are involved in this project with me are Tim April from Akamai, Barry Green from Akamai, Warren Kumari, Matt Plosell, and myself. All of us are in different ways connected to the DNS operator community or the internet operator community in general. Through these relationships, we've already been socializing this with multiple people that will be critical contributors of data, and thankfully we've gotten a lot of buy-in from several people, and we're hopeful that things will progress soon, or progress quickly from this point going forward. So if this strikes you as something that you're passionate about and you would like to help out with, right now what we're really looking for is registries and registry operators to contribute data. So if you happen to be in that category, then please get in touch with us today. If you are a registrar backend, or you operate authority name servers, particularly TLD authority name server operators, we will be talking to you soon. Please do reach out to us so we know who to talk to. And anybody that's interested in this in general, please feel free to sign up via our website to be kept up to date with the project as it progresses. So in summary, what we want to do is we want to provide a little bit more transparency, a little bit more of a chance for name owners to understand the changes that affect their zones. We want to make it a little bit more difficult for those that seek to exploit some of the lack of transparency within the system today, or the lack of availability of change information in a push model, so that we raise the bar and make it just a little bit more difficult for the attackers that want to exploit ccTLDs tomorrow, make their job all that much, or just slightly harder. So thank you, and I'd welcome any questions that anyone might have.
Jeff Houston, APNIC, I'll be quick. And normally I'd ask Tim or Warren, but you're up there, so unfortunately you get it. Certificate transparency is same weak service in a world of nanosecond attacks. It's completely ineffectual. It's not progress, it's just motion. Why is this any different?
So I guess from a larger security context, ideally you would stop any attacks from happening and stop things before they changed. But in the event that you're not able to do that, then at least it's helpful to know that they did change. Right now, for domain owners, domain registrants, they can't even see that things changed, and we're trying to fix that. So I guess the answer to your question is logging is a critical component of security controls. It doesn't stop access, but it's no less critical.
It doesn't seem to have acted as a deterrent to attacks on certificates. The folk who are doing it are quite happy that there's a log trail of their actions. They've gone over the horizon. And I'm just kind of wondering if this is motion as distinct from progress.
I can see your point. I guess from my perspective, it's from a response perspective, when you're running an incident, it's always helpful to be able to know what happened. And that's what we're trying to enable.
Hi, I'm Carl Auerbach. Why are you focusing on ccTLDs? And that's the first question. The second question is, what sort of data rate are you thinking of producing? It sounds like it could be a prodigious fire hose of notifications.
Right. So Let me correct myself. I didn't mean to make it appear like we were going after ccTLDs. We're going after all TLDs. So our first, the first ones that we're going after happen to be the largest. And in terms of data rates, I don't know that we've gone through to estimate what that is quite yet. But in general, from a consumer side perspective, people would be able to subscribe to things that are of interest to them. All right. Well, thank you.